What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So it's finally here, the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which we've all been waiting for, and launched October 31st here in the United States. And I've been trying this out for about 24 hours, 36 hours at time of making this video. And I always like to do kind of an unboxing and first impressions before I get into a real review. So this isn't a review of the device, but it's just the first day and a half or so with it and kind of what I'm thinking off the bat here. So let's go ahead and jump into it and check out the unboxing first. All right, so we can do this pretty quickly. It's pretty simple. And one nice thing that you'll find out here is we do still get a case with the Legion Go 2. But yeah, this is the 1TB Z2 Extreme version. So this is the newest hardware that we can get here with AMD. Inside the box, it's pretty simple. We have our 65-watt charger over here in a box over off to the side. Set that over here. I've got plenty of those laying around right now. And we've got the actual Legion Go 2 here with the case, which we'll take a look at. A little bit of paperwork. And then, like the Legion Go S models, this little cardboard stand thing that you can make if you wanted to. Here, I'm just going to keep mine in the box there. So we'll put all that back together and get over to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which again, it does come with a case, which is nice to see, but I will have a little bit of a complaint about that. They got some information on here, docking, buttons, turn it on, plug it in first, all that kind of stuff to do when you get this. But we'll go ahead and slide this out and take a look. And like I said, one of the first things I did notice I was disappointed in, especially for over $1,400, is that this case is a soft case and fairly small, and it's not near as good or protective as the case that we got with the original Legion Go, which was a little bit disappointing, but I'm still happy that we do at least get a case with the device. But yeah, you open that up and we've got the Legion Go 2 here. We'll move this cardboard out. Oh, and we also, of course, get that stand for the FPS mode, which we'll take a closer look at when we get to the actual review more than just the first impressions. So we'll go ahead and slide this out and take a look at the Legion Go 2 here, something we've been waiting a while to get our hands on with the 144Hz OLED VRR display. I noticed immediately it definitely is a little bit thicker than the original Legion Go, which we'll take a look at in this first impressions video as well. And you can definitely tell it's got some weight to it, but it is very premium feeling out of the box, which it should be for what it costs. But yeah, it does feel really nice. So we'll go ahead and get it plugged in and get it set up. Now, like any other Windows handheld, yeah, it's Windows 11 and it's a full Windows 11 setup. So I'm not going to get too into that in this video. We're pretty used to that. It's going to take anywhere from an hour to 3 hours, depending on your internet, your setup, all that kind of stuff. This one took me about an hour, hour and a half, which was actually pretty good. There were a lot of store and Windows updates and things to do, but there weren't any space updates really. And I already had the newest BIOS on here, and the GPU driver was proper as well, so I didn't actually have to do any of that extra work that some people have with DDU and BIOS and all that. So I was fortunate with that, and that's nice to see. But once everything was all set up and I was able to get it into it, I was about an hour and a half again or so, hour and 45 minutes into it at this point, and able to check everything out. Legion space is like you would expect it to be if you've ever used a Legion Go. It's the same thing there. We have our OLED 144Hz 1200p display, which I do prefer over the 1600p, especially for the power we have to deal with and the kind of games we're going to play anyway. All right, so some first impressions about the design. It does feel premium, except for the sticks for me. They're improved over the Legion Go, but they are a bit loose for me, and I'm having to kind of get used to that. It kind of reminds me of the original Ally, but I'll mess with it, and we'll talk about that more in the review and see if it actually is a problem for me or not. And again, I did say this was a bit thicker than the original Legion Go, which we'll take a look at. We still have these side buttons and extra buttons on the right controller here, which still annoy me. I'm still not a fan of it, but they are better on this than they were. And the weight is still there, but you'll be used to that if you're used to the original Legion Go. The controllers, of course, are still removable. They feel much better, though, to me than the original Legion Go, even though it's the same rail system and you're supposed to be able to interchange these, which we'll get into in the review as well. But getting these on and off were pretty nice. They snapped on a little bit better, in my opinion, and they felt a bit tighter and stayed on there better, in my opinion, for this one. We'll see how that goes in the long term. But yeah, definitely felt really premium out of the box, and I think Legion or Lenovo did a good job with that. On the bottom here, we have our headphone jack, our SD card reader, and another USB-C port, which is nice to see. And of course, if we flip this around to the back, we still have that nice kickstand across the back, and this is very sturdy, and I don't think I'm going to have any problems with that as we use this and get further into it. But yeah, pretty much that's a Legion Go right there, Legion Go 2. Now, comparing that to the original, they are very similar in size, but you can see with that curve on the bottom, there's a little bit less space taken up with the new version there. And of course, we have that new 144Hz OLED display. And I did say this is a bit chunkier. It is a little bit thicker than the original Legion Go, which you can see here, and a lot more venting, and it runs very cool. I was very surprised actually, and I had to check a lot of numbers to make sure they were right, but it runs really cool. But yeah, it is a bit thicker than the original Legion Go was there. And of course, those side buttons, like I said, still annoy me, but they were way too easy to press on the original model, and it's much better now on the Legion Go 2, so I can kind of deal with it, and they haven't really bothered me that much. It's more just kind of the weight, and it's not as ergonomic as maybe the Ally X I've been testing or something like that, but it's definitely much improved over the original model, and we'll definitely have to do a video diving deeper into that. Now, of course, at the time of making this video, it's only been about a day and a half, 36 hours or so, so I've only been able to play 4 or 5 games and kind of check them out and record some, but it's the performance I would expect from a Z2 Extreme after testing the Xbox Ally X, so I kind of have an idea where things should land, especially at that lower TDP, so definitely happy to see that this Z2 Extreme seems to be performing the way that we expect it to, as far as the BIOS drivers and all of that. I'm sure there's room for improvement and that we'll get more updates, but out of the box, this is a bit of a better launch as far as performance and me not running into hiccups and problems with BIOS drivers and all of that like I did with the Z1 Extreme launch. So that was nice to see. Games seem to be running the way I would pretty much expect them to here. And of course, on this screen, even though this is kind of still pushing it in my opinion as far as size for a handheld, it is obviously gorgeous, and they've done something really special with coming up with this 144 Hz true VRR OLED display without really any of the flicker issues or anything like that that you can run into. It is really impressive and something I want to dive into more when we do the full review video. But yeah, colors of course are going to pop. There's plenty of room for adjustment. You can get into HDR, which I've only recently just started testing here in Windows, which I'm not a big fan of Windows HDR, but it's here and I want to jump into it because there's a lot of peak brightness and stuff when it comes to this display, so it's going to be something fun to dive into. But of course, things are going to look great, contrast, blacks, the colors, everything on the OLED display here. So definitely going to be one of the selling points and showcases of this device, and probably one of the reasons why a lot of people or enthusiasts might want to grab this one up is going to be this new display. All in all, I think it's a really good looking device that's well improved over the original Legion Go, but I have a long ways to go. I haven't had it near long enough to do a full review or form any real opinions. I don't think it's as comfortable as a lot of other devices that I use already, but I expected that. It's more comfortable than the original Legion Go in my opinion, but not quite up there with something like a Steam Deck or Ally X, but it's definitely improved. So we'll see how that goes as I use it some more. And of course, the screen is beautiful. The controls feel pretty good, except I do need to adapt to the sticks. They're a bit loose for me, and we'll see how that goes. But everything else feels really premium, and the buttons feel great on here, including the triggers, face buttons, all of that. But a real issue here for this device is going to be the price. For me here, it was $1,440 USD with tax. And this, as Lenovo has said, has been pushed into a more enthusiast and niche type market. So yeah, when you start getting that expensive and you're making it kind of this quote-unquote high end, that's kind of where you're going to put yourself. So it's going to be interesting to see how I go the next couple of weeks and get the review for this one, because I kind of got to look at it that way. And since I do buy these things myself, I do look at it with the perspective of trying to actually put out over $1,400 for this thing, and is it really worth it, and who it might really be for. So anyways, keep an eye out for that review that's going to be coming up in the next week or two. I hope you enjoyed just the first impressions and unboxing here of the Lenovo Legion Go 2, a device we've all been looking forward to. Anyways, as always, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.